people do this, do that. Like, how does that make literally any sense? Like, this one person's like view on how to handle things just is the one way to go. Like, that's bullshit. Hey guys, what's up? It's Paige. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video we are going to be discussing fear. Most importantly though, we're going to touch base on how to spot fear-based belief systems in yourself and within others. But if you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Paige and I make videos on consciousness, self-development, and pretty much anything I want to. So if you're interested in that, make sure you subscribe, turn on the post notification bell, and give this video a thumbs up so I know you like content like this. The whole reason I'm talking about this is because at one point in my life, I seriously was controlled by fear, like to the point where I just was depressed and suicidal and anxious and literally in so much physical pain that I couldn't be a normal person. I wasn't a normal person at the time because I was so just scared for the life of me, for everything. And just add that I am not some weak bitch. Like, I am somebody that is very, very strong. Throughout life, you get yourself around the wrong people, around the wrong situations, just around things that don't resonate with you, that aren't your truth, that aren't meant for you. And if you're around that too long, you take on the fears of that environment. That was something I had no knowledge of, obviously, as it was happening, but coming out of it, I can see this situation so clearly, and I can see how to navigate this energy, and most importantly, how to be able to look fear in the eye and just see it for what it is, which is just a negative emotion that you have associated with probably some sort of a traumatic event, or just, you know, whatever scale. Traumatic sounds like it has to be like you were at war, but in reality, anything that you weren't consciously prepared for at that time in your life is trauma. You know, you mentally prepared on how to cope with the things that you went through. So that happens to people, and what does it do? It puts them in a state of fear, a state of constant stress. So my intention is to just spread awareness about how to spot these kind of red flags in other people and within yourself, so you don't hold yourself back and you can use your own strength and your own power, like I said, to look fear in the eye and just conquer it for what it is. This is like everything in life. It's not permanent. It's not something that needs to stay forever, but if you don't have awareness of it and you're not seeing it clearly for just the emotion that it is, you're gonna be stuck and it's gonna remain a roadblock. So this is crucial to talk about. On a personal level, we understand that fear is stressful. Not only is fear extremely unpleasant, it is scientifically proven to cause health problems for mental and physical health. So we're not even talking about just being scared in your head. We're talking about your body physically having issues because of this fear-based mentality. Zooming out to a larger scale, fear is the root of all oppressive power and control. It's extremely important to be aware of the different dynamics that you have between yourself and the world around you. I won't go too deep down the conspiracy theory rabbit hole in this video, although if you do want a video on that, comment down below because I feel like I would really like to do a video like that. But anyways, not to get too much into it, but a perfect example of this is the war on drugs, more specifically marijuana. From the government and some political parties, I should say, have people so afraid of a literal plant that they don't even recognize their own disconnect to like the world that feeds us, that makes us even possible. Like, it's so confusing to think of how this oppression works and how this fear-based construct works, because if you're in your right mind, if you're like in this confident light kind of area, you look at fear and you're like, you're fucking stupid. But reality is that if you're subject to that fear, whether you've already endured it and it's just kind of like a trauma bonding kind of thing, whatever it is, you're affected by it. In that environment, you're in that energy field, you're being affected by that fear-based construct. I want to add though that it is debatable whether or not this is intentional, because as much as it would be so brilliant to say that these people that are above us, that have power and control, like, they're trying to force these fear-based constructs on us, but like, I don't think it's that deep. I really just think hurt people, and if you were taught fear, why wouldn't you teach fear? You know, like, people only know what they know, and unfortunately some people don't know shit. So like, I mean, what else is there to do other than make a video like this about spreading awareness on how people like to weasel their way in with oppressive power and control tactics based off of fear? Like, honestly, don't see a better way to handle this situation, so that's what we're gonna do. So let's talk about the actual fear-based red flags that we should be looking for. Starting with the more vague and obvious things to look for, honestly, the biggest thing is just to notice how a person talks. Their tonality, but notice where they're coming from and their overall like viewpoint and how they perceive things. So biggest thing to note is is that fear exercises power and control. It exercises this idea that there is a me versus you. There is this group of people that are right and that are doing things the good way, and then there is a group of people that do not do things the good way and that are bad, and they are somebody that you shouldn't be like, you know? They have this mindset that there is no connectedness between us, and that how dare somebody act a certain way, like they could never, kind of thing. That's fear based upon their own lack of self-awareness. Honestly, just shows an unwillingness to see their own shadow side or just to accept it, because like I said, we all have bad sides. So the thoughts that keep coming up are somewhat like radical, like one side or the other, like way too extreme. That's something to keep in mind. Like there's no right or wrong way to do everything. So, you know, like it's not really fair to say that you know it. Another way of exercising power and control is using ultimatums. So this is something I advocate for a lot on my channel, because we see this typically, I feel like, with religion, where people think you have to behave a certain way, or even honestly within the spiritual community, this is like a big topic. I mean, spirituality in general is kind of like the way that you believe things to be. So I can see where this is kind of reoccurring. There's genuinely people that will tell you that if you don't do something their way, the way that they think it needs to be done, that you will be cursed, or you will go to hell, or you will do this, do that. Like, how does that make literally any sense? Like, this one person's like view on how to handle things just is the one way to go. Like that's bullshit. The second group of fear-based red flags to look at would be people that have low value systems, low self-esteem, that kind of stuff. Now, we're all human and we all do have like the basis of like a low self-esteem. I feel like we're all learning how to love ourselves in this lifetime. So obviously, you know, you can spot fear in many people. Because yeah, everybody has fear, but it's about the way that you go about it. Like, for example, when I was getting into spirituality and wanting to learn more, I was seeking a mentor, somebody to like help me out and kind of guide me along my way. And I remember talking to this local guy and finding out that he was into Reiki and that kind of stuff. Talked about being able to intern with him for free, which would be awesome. However, I did notice he would frequently mention his money problems. He'd literally just talk about his lack so often, like enough for me to pick up on it. And I just recognized that I'm like, I don't want to follow along with somebody that doesn't see value and worth in what they're doing and their contributions. Huge fear-based red flag is people that talk about themselves lowly, because the thing about it is when you don't have good self-esteem, a lot of the time you will look at other people through the lens of yourself, thinking that they can't do things because you can't do them. And that's a lot of what I've seen in my life, is people just doubting me, doubting my beliefs and my dreams just because they had failures in their life and they didn't want to pursue things that they loved. We're 100% potential until the day you die. So don't let anybody tell you that you're not worth something or that they're not worth something, because they're coming from a place that is fearful of success, fearful of love, and then fearful of acceptance. And that's not really any advice that you'd want to follow if along your highest good anyways. The third fear-based red flag is the unwillingness to understand. Now, this one hits home for a lot of people, I know, because this talks more about your interpersonal relationships and honestly your relationship with yourself too, because we all experience things that we don't know, we don't understand, and you can either just I don't want to understand, or you're open to it. A lot of the times when we're triggered, especially in a conversation with another person, we don't want to see their side. They pissed us off, they hurt our feelings, they're not valid anymore, basically. But that is coming from a fear-based place, a place of resistance to change, to transmuting the energy into a better feeling. Personally, I've noticed that a lot in my ascension process is that when I'm presented with the opportunity to heal, to like take a higher route in a situation where I could just easily like relapse, handle it with the same behaviors that didn't do me any good in the past, I feel like a significant just pressure, literally just around me, around my thoughts, around my actions, like just a physical resistance in my energy field to being able to be nice, to be good. And you should see that as just your fear, your own fear threshold. So if you watch my last video, you understand that we all just have thresholds to push through. Like, yes, obviously a threshold is a higher pressurized point. But anyways, the biggest thing to note though is that it's not just your way or the highway. It's not just another person's way or the highway. More open that you are to just hearing people out, like not even going with it, because like I said, figure out what resonates with you and do that. But you know, hearing out people is not the end of the world. Hearing what another person says in an entirety, asking questions, like that does not mean that you believe it. It doesn't mean you're feeding into it. It just means that you are willing to understand, and it shows that you're not afraid of change and expansion and gaining more knowledge and receiving more knowledge. So are unwilling to understand their fear-based belief system is just coming from a place that they want to feel secure in their beliefs. They want things to be finite. They want things to be exactly what they seem like they are in that moment. You know, whatever topic it is for this person, they may not be like this all the time, but it is important to note that like other people's resistance has nothing to do with you unless you allow it to have something to do with you. Genuinely just have fear of looking into things because they don't want to change. They don't want to have to redo their lives, and they don't want to be uncomfortable either. So overall, it's really important to look at people's intentions and where they're coming from making these remarks when they're talking to you, especially when they're leading you. It's important for you to feel out what resonates and what is truthful to your life situation and what helps you on your path. And if you hear things that are limiting to you, you don't have to believe it. But like I said, it is important to note that you will inevitably pick up different fear-based beliefs from other people, but you can sort them out. You can identify them in the moment. I believe the little red flags that I just discussed will be extremely helpful along your path. So I would love to make a part 2 video to this, just because I feel like this is a topic we can go so in depth on. So let me know what your thoughts are down below. If you stayed to the end of this video, comment down below. I love the trippy eye. And thank you so much for watching. Check me out on WordPress and Instagram. I'll link down below to hang out with you guys on those apps. So I hope to see you on there or at my next video. Bye guys.